Big conversation we're about to have right now.
Yes. First, we want to give a shout out to everyone who supports us and watches us every week, who shares our content. Thank you for subscribing to our YouTube page, The Doctor and the Realist. We appreciate you. We love you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're just building and growing and doing what we do. So keep supporting, keep coming on,
Please
keep
listening,
liking,
keep
sharing,
keep subscribing,
keep
please
liking.
keep sharing.
Yes.
Please keep following all social media
you.
platforms. We need you. We need you to be us.
Absolutely. We see everybody coming in. We see you, IG. We see you, Facebook. We see you, YouTube. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Everybody come in.
Make your way on in.
Yes.
Let's get started to this heavy topic. So without further ado, so we're going to address, I guess, the elephant, the zoo in the room. Mental illness in a relationship, or actually better put, surviving and coping with mental illness in a relationship. Now, my wife is definitely an expert in this field, and I'm going to let her take the lead on this topic. And like y'all, I'm going to ask the questions that we think is too dumb to say out loud. But your boy, the realist, got you.
Yes. And please, everyone, please feel free to jump in, ask questions, make comments, anything you may not know.
Participation, y'all.
Participate with us on this topic. You know, we're not here to ruffle anyone's feathers. We're here just to learn and grow just like you. And we're just talking about everyday things, real things that people do not feel comfortable talking about in their everyday life.
They don't. That's the whole purpose of this. Not only is just real talk, that's spicy topics, but we hope to get to some kind of real solutions and whatever problems that we're discussing and talking about. We really, me and my wife agree that that's the most important part of why we do this show. You know,
Absolutely.
To each one teach one and to learn.
Absolutely. So let's get into it. The topic of mental illness.
Yes, very heavy.
Mental illness is
hold up, y'all.
Oh, take that sip.
The Douce is on the menu this evening.
Douce.
Cheers to all those surviving and coping.
Surviving. So let's get started. Mental illness is something that's on the rise every day. You know, mental illness has always been around, but it just has not been talked about. Now, we don't want to belabor this. We're not trying to go forever because there's so many different diagnoses that we could talk about when we discuss mental illness.
All right.
So I'm going to just try to chunk a very few important ones real quick, couple of minutes, so we could get the gist of mental illness, and then go into, can you stay with someone that has mental illness? Should you stay with someone that has mental illness?
How do you stay with someone?
And would you stay with someone? So can you, should you, and would you? Yep. 3 different answers, 3 different questions. Okay. So first thing is we have one kind of mental illness disorder, which is the psychotic disorders, which deals with schizophrenia. People who may have symptoms of hallucinations, delusions, hearing voices, psychotic mania, bipolar disorder.
No, we talking about psycho killers, Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer. We talking about.
Some may have.
You got to put it in layman's term because a lot of people don't understand what psycho.
Hearing voices, you know, someone that may lick walls. They may smell things that aren't there. Hearing people talking to them and they're not there. Hearing people tell them you should kill yourself, you should harm someone else.
Okay.
Wow. That's one example of schizophrenia, right? All right. Then we have bipolar disorder. You know, people who you go from mania to severely depressed.
Mood swings.
But it's not I'm mad 5 minutes and I'm happy 10 minutes later. That's not bipolar.
Okay.
Bipolar is, and you're on a high for days at a time where your body's exhausted, and then you swing to a low for days and weeks at a time.
A low of being like depression.
Just a deep place. And it's days. Right. It's not a few minutes. It's not someone who's mad one moment and happy. That's not bipolar.
Okay.
So those are just an example of some of the first set of, those are only 2 examples. There's many more, but I'm just trying to give you the ones that people use. Schizophrenia, bipolar, right?
Okay.
Those usually happen, if it comes from issues in the brain, lack of serotonin, trauma, a psychotic break, right? Then we have the next set of, disorders, which is very common, which is anxiety and depression. Everyone deals with some sort of anxiety and depression, whether it's
Absolutely.
extremely mild, unless it's extremely severe. Again, there's different forms of anxiety and depression. You could have major depressive disorder, or you could have dysthymia, which is something very mild where sometimes you feel low, you just feel down, but you could kind of swing back and forth, right?
Okay.
And then anxiety. There's so many different forms of anxiety. You may just have general anxiety where you just feel anxious all the time for no reason. You may have
I'm getting anxiety just listening to you right now. Lord,
listen. Then you may have agoraphobia, where you're afraid to leave the house. That's severe.
Okay.
Where you cannot leave your house because you just anxious. Some people have social anxiety, where you're just nervous in large places around a group of people, afraid of speaking in front of people.
Right.
And again, anxiety is normal. We all get some kind of anxiety, right?
Yeah, panic attacks,
panic attacks, anxiety. Your chest is racing, but you get through it, right? The good thing about depression and anxiety, it's something that you don't have to have for the rest of your life. Go get therapy, do your meditation, take care of yourself, and you could get out of it, right? Okay. So then we have some personality disorders. Personality disorders. I don't think there's no medication for a personality disorder, but you need to work on yourself. So, two that we talk about: borderline personality and narcissistic.
Okay.
Borderline personality is very common in young women. These women usually attempt to commit suicide. They're very manipulative. What can you do for them? They maybe have a lot of anger, aggression, emotional. The onset is usually late teens, early adulthood, right? Then we have narcissistic personality disorder, which is very common in men, but women can be narcissistic. But basically, all about you. What can you do for me? If you don't do what I'm saying, then you're against me.
Super selfish.
Super selfish. A lot of gaslighting.
Super
entitled, where they make that you think that you're going crazy because they did something to you. Narcissism is very common.
So how's that different from any woman out here in today's society?
Oh my gosh.
So y'all basically saying all women are mentally
We all have a little mental illness in us, right? So those are just a few disorders.
I'm asking for the fellas though. I need to know because I'm hearing a lot of symptoms that match a lot of cases of this whole, you
that is the point. It's a thin line between what is mental illness and what is just somebody's personality. It's a very, very thin line. Okay, people may not like what I'm about to say, but I'm a doctor. I've seen hundreds of people in my career. I've been doing this since I was 19 years old. From children to adults, I've worked with killers. I've worked with people who chopped off their mother's head. I've worked with people who've killed their children. I work with people who've raped and molested kids. I've worked with children who have molested their siblings. I've seen it all. Let me tell you.
And that's all mental illness.
Some form, yes, it's a huge form of it. But let me tell you, not everything is mental illness.
That's what I'm trying to get to.
The problem with our society is they try to lump all bad behavior as mental illness.
Okay.
When in reality, some people just like to do bad things.
And no accountability. All right.
Right?
Yeah, I can see
some people just like, I'm having a bad day. I want to go push someone off the train tracks because I'm mad.
Wow.
And a person could not have a history of trauma, could have come from a good family, could have a good job.
Mm-hmm.
Like, would you consider stealing a mental illness?
Yeah, it's kleptomaniacs.
They give it kleptomaniac, but some people steal just because, one, for survival, right? Some people that steal for survival.
But I think with a kleptomaniac is that they can't resist the impulse to take the shit, no matter what they do. No matter what you tell them to do, like, I'm gonna burn your hand if you take it, and you still
gonna do it.
They still trying to slide it out of there. We cooking that hand up.
But why can't we say that they're just a thief? They can't help themselves. This is who they are.
Right? See, that's very interesting because I think a lot of people hide behind their mental illnesses because now we live in a time where if you feel some type of way, admit that there's something wrong with you. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
For instance, I'm gonna take, I'm an out of the box thinker, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
So if you say with the whole kleptomaniacs, I think of a nymphomaniac. Now, a nymphomaniac is somebody that can't resist the urges and the impulses to have sex, correct?
That's what dictionary textbook says, right?
Well, when I looked up at Googly, they said an oversexed woman.
Okay.
And they really were specific about it being women. I didn't see any kind of references to oversexed men or males or whatever. So I don't know. You know, maybe that was just the one reference that I looked at. That was Google, y'all. Y'all Google it right now. Google nymphomaniac and see what it comes up. It says oversexed woman. I'm not making this up. I'm not trying to be male chauvinistic on this show.
All right, now are you ready for this?
But what I'm saying is, like,
I don't believe nymphomania is a real thing.
Okay, and why is that?
You ready for this? I'm about to go.
We ready.
So some people may feel some kind of way about what I'm about to say, right?
Go ahead, let it fly. Fuck it. This is Doctor the Realist. We getting real with your ass.
Ready?
Let's
Textbook,
go.
Google. Yes, nymphomania was a term that was given to women many years ago who were hypersexual or enjoyed having a lot of sex.
Jezebels.
Right? Perfect example. I'm not done, right? So this term was given to women who were hypersexual that enjoyed having sex. So of course they would do a lot of things to try to cure these women, right? You could only imagine what kind of
cure a woman of being sexually aggressive.
Yes. Cure a woman of not wanting to have a high sex drive. Right, so I'm sure you could imagine what they did: lobotomies, things to the genitalia, hypnosis, whatever they could do. Right,
that's terrible.
So the problem is, women cannot be hypersexual, but men can, and it's okay. Because why only give this term to women?
I didn't give it to the women.
I'm just saying.
I just typed in Google. So Google gave it to the women.
Okay, so let me break this down for you. Okay, let me break this down for you. And this is an issue in our society today. So years ago, right? Everybody on here, I hear my great granddaddy, my daddy, my grandma, my this, that. They've been married for 50, 60, 70 years. My grandfather was the greatest. Let me tell you.
They put in their time.
Most, if not all, men in history have stepped out on their wives. And our mothers, grandmothers, great grandmothers, whomever, they accepted it because that was the social norm. Women, we were not supposed to be promiscuous. We weren't good for anything but giving our husbands sex when they asked for it and giving them children. So most women, grandma, great grandma, mom, dad, whomever, knew what their husband was doing.
Oh, okay.
But they dealt with it because that's the societal norm. Right? So,
but what does that have to tie?
But listen, if a woman came out and was promiscuous, she's a nymphomaniac, because it wasn't normal for a woman to have a high sex drive. Now, fast forward to today, where women are over sexualized publicly, right? Always naked on TV, always naked, all of these things. They're not giving nymphomania anymore. They're giving the term of Jezebel, like you said, a slut, a thought. Meanwhile, men could have. Look at Hugh Hefner, had a house of tons of women that were little girls. If you want to get technical, I ain't taking away from Hef, but this grown old man was with a whole bunch of little girls because they were his little girls, and sleeping with them with no problem.
Trying to get it shut down,
but
man.
What we call
R.I.P. Hef.
R.I.P. Hef.
Don't talk bad about the dead.
But we're speaking facts. I'm not speaking bad. I'm speaking facts.
See, but
what we call that nymphomania.
Listen to what I'm saying. It's just a term.
Exactly.
Just like anything else, because men could be, you can look up sexual deviant or something like that, and it could have a male contingent to it. I'm not trying to say that. Mm-hmm. What I kind of was putting it towards is, if somebody is classified as a nymphomaniac or diagnosed as a nymphomaniac, and they're in a monogamous or so-called trying to be in a monogamous relationship, and this woman, regardless of whatever you do, you provided her with security, you've given her honesty, you don't cheat yourself. And no matter how good or how accommodative you are, this woman still engages in sexual practices with your brother, your neighbor, because she's a nymphomaniac. So how does somebody in that type of scenario cope with that type of mental illness?
Or maybe she's not a nymphomaniac. Maybe she's just greedy and she wants a whole bunch of different things.
Okay.
You understand? Okay. So who is to say that too much sex is too much sex?
Yeah, that's true.
It could be just a trait. It could just, because there are a lot of women who like sex just as much as men.
They do. I feel like now today's society, with women being in the workplace and earning so much money. I was just talking to my wife right now. I was like, yo, it ain't no dudes in the strip club right now. We all struggling trying to keep that money. There's ladies throwing dollars in the strip club. They ain't there making it Holla and Club Live and all these other places. And it's crazy because now I see like society where women are a lot more aggressive about dating, being with men, cheating, that whole mentality now, it almost like is shifted because most of them are the breadwinners now. So it's like they making the rules. And guys kind of have to, get in where they fit in around that scenario. But I feel like so many people use their mental illness to kind of hide their lack of discipline, their bad behaviors. Absolutely. Like, I'm an nymphomaniac because I cheated on you because I'm a nymphomaniac. Or I can't control my anger because I have rage disorder. I got rage disorder or something like that. And I think that's the biggest thing of really identifying if somebody does have a mental illness and what that mental illness is in your relationship, so you know how to handle it. Because let's be honest with you, we all wish we could take that away from them and make them normal, so to speak. But they're really no normal.
But there's really no normal because what's normal? Everyone has something with them.
Everybody has some
everyone
kind of
has
quirk.
something with them. My thing is, can you be with someone who is one way when you got with them, and then something happens, whether organically, whether emotionally, and something snaps? I've worked with a lot of families whose children or their spouse just had they had a normal life, so they thought, and then just had a psychotic break. I work with the family of people who whether it was their kid or their spouse murdered someone because they said the voices told them to. Can you still have a relationship with someone who has that kind of mental illness?
I don't think I can.
You understand? Well, let's kind of scale it down to anxiety and depression.
What you mean? When I met you, we was dating, you was cool, and all of a sudden, you lost your mind, you started killing people. Like, how do I stay with that?
Or let's do it even better. Okay, so Ted Bundy,
I can't drop a dime on you. Like,
a lot of psychopaths are usually married with kids.
Yeah, I get it. They're very charming people. Very engaging people. Very socially attractive.
Would you support your spouse if you found out after 20 years of marriage that they had a whole bunch of bodies buried in the backyard?
See, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be real with you. That's a heavy call. But I took those vows to ride or die. Those are my bodies. It doesn't even matter. Like, it's not my job to sit there and start digging up the bodies. Like, I've already committed to you. So, I'm gonna be honest with you. In a situation like that, I'm kind of like, I gotta keep my mouth shut because I'm in love with you in a relationship.
Okay.
So to some kind of loyalty pact, I guess I have to, I gotta ride.
You gotta ride. So you're gonna ride with your psychopath. That's what I'm talking about. See, my husband's gonna ride with his psychopath. I love it.
And if it was, vice versa, I hope you wasn't snitching on me. We gonna ride out together.
Listen. Another one. Someone who has severe anxiety when they can't leave the house.
Oh, see, now that shit is a lot. Now that's a lot.
What if, like I said, when you got with your spouse,
how do you cope with that? How do you survive that? How do you survive that? I don't want to go outside. I'm so scared. Like, if you don't get your ass out of here, put your coat on. Let's go. Like, I literally have to pull you out the house. That's craziness.
But it's real. It happens. And I work with the people on the other end who are crying like, I don't know what to do. This is hindering my life. I love this person. This person gave me care. We were together since high school. I never saw no signs or anything like that. Or there were little tiny signs and people ignored it.
Yeah. For the sake of the relationship,
right? You ignore
we know
it.
that. We know them signs that we see from them folks that's our significant others, and that shit don't be right. But we ignore it because nobody want to be alone.
Exactly. And the question is, can you stay with someone who has a severe mental illness? Would you? And I get, when you get married and you take those vows, it's a whole different part because you say through sickness and health and through death do us part.
Straight up.
And I get there's some people who have mental illnesses that can definitely be dangerous where they can harm you themselves.
See, but that's the thing too. Like, if you have this behavior, you have this severe mental illness, like, I gotta help you to help myself because I don't want you flipping on me in the middle of the night, stabbing me up or some shit. So, some voice told your ass to do it. Like, I can't. We can't deal with that. So, like, to a certain extent, you do have to kind of be. You have to make a decision one way or another. And you really gotta. You kind of gotta. I know it sucks because a lot of people can't deal with that. My heart go out to a lot of people that watch their loved ones deteriorate from dementia or Alzheimer's, any of those brain diseases, or because you just literally watch somebody that you love just turn into somebody totally different. Absolutely. Or somebody that you got to take care of. And that's when I think real love comes into the matter, because a lot of people show their true selves in those situations. Yeah. A lot of people can't handle that. A lot of people are just like, oh, I'd rather put you away just to make sure that you're okay, but I can't deal with you every day. And that's a hard decision on anybody. No judgment zone on that, because I would never want to be in that with my loved one. Yeah. But I kind of feel like when it comes to the mental illness, it's like it's our mental illness when we're married. Yeah. Because I have to deal with that. I have to share it. So let me talk about this. So let me put a little light on it. I'm a loyal married man, but I'm suffering with bipolarism, for instance. Bipolar disorder. Okay. And one disorder, I'm the perfect husband. I cook, I clean, we never argue, I don't go through anything with you, I have ultimate trust on you, I'm ultimately supportive. And then the other bipolar like to show his ass. He don't like cooking, he don't like helping out, he like doing bad things and cursing your ass out. Okay, how do you deal with a situation like that? Is that a real situation, or is that just me exaggerating?
That's just you being
blaming my behavior on my mental illness.
Yes, that's blaming your behavior and mental illness. But if someone has a mental illness where it's like that, get your partner the help that they need. Yeah. Help them.
But is it more than just like they're getting them therapy, or we talking sometimes like medicine? We talking like medication.
Depending on how severe the disorder is, they may need medicine to help them stop with the intrusive thoughts. Stop with the jitters, stop with the anxiety, stop with the hearing the voices. So there is medication that helps those symptoms.
I heard about that. But what about those people that don't want to take that medication because they say it makes them feel some type of way? Like, it makes me feel loopy, so I don't take my medication. Or should you start...
Makes you not be able to get an erection.
How do you get it? How do you... Oh, man.
Where you can't get an erection. Yeah. I worked in a hospital.
What medicine do that?
So
that's horrible.
I worked in a hospital, and a lot of the male patients, I worked on an all inpatient male ward. Hi fam, hi everyone coming in.
That's crazy.
A lot of them refuse certain medications, most of them schizophrenia or major psychotic disorder. Some of the medications made them not be able to get an erection. They didn't like how it made them feel. So that's another issue when it comes to mental illness. People don't like the side effects of how it makes them feel. It may make you feel droopy.
So what does your partner do? Am I putting it in your mouth while you're sleeping at night? Like, how am I getting you on task so that you can deal with? Because you gotta understand now, like, we're managing this now. Yeah. Because you don't want to deal with the symptoms, it still affects us in a marriage, in a relationship. So, like, what should I do? Should it be like a me versus you type thing where I gotta sneak you your medicine? Because then that builds trust issues.
I feel like when you're dealing with someone like that, one, you guys should seek individual counseling and counseling together, because the spouse needs to understand. You need someone to talk to about what you're going through. Absolutely. So you don't have a breakdown.
I need an instruction manual.
Yes. And number two, you need to know how you can help your partner. Again, it's very hard. A lot of people get divorced due to mental illness. A lot of people cannot deal with a spouse who's extremely depressed or extremely anxious.
Yeah, that's heavy.
Or someone who goes through manic moments for days at a time and they black out and don't even remember what they said to you.
That's crazy.
You understand? But it's serious.
And that's real.
It's real.
That really happens.
There's always signs in the beginning. There's always little signs. I don't care what anyone says. No one just flips in a day. I wouldn't wake up tomorrow and be out of my mind. It's always things beforehand. So my biggest thing with people is, please do not ignore the signs. Do not ignore the signs for yourself or for anyone else.
Anything abnormal. And listen, keep your brain trained, y'all. Yes. Let's keep reading. Yes. Let's keep doing those crossword puzzles.
Stay active.
Whatever you got to do, feed that brain. Watch Jeopardy. Yes. I watch Jeopardy every day at 7:00, y'all. Y'all know y'all think y'all nice on Jeopardy. Y'all ain't nice on Jeopardy like I'm nice on Jeopardy. You know?
Yes, listen.
Keep that mind going.
Keep the mind going and try to do as much positive things as you can. Again, I have a big thing on holistic practices where what you eat affects your mood.
It does.
Have you ever eaten something and you were just so sluggish and blah and depressed? Or have you eaten something and you was like, I feel good, like this was a good meal?
All them hormones in that
hormones
food.
in the food.
That energy. That's why a lot of people turn to vegan, believe it or not.
Vegan,
because they're saying that the way that the animals are
the
slaughtered,
trauma from the animals
energy,
we're eating trauma.
All of that is in that
meat.
And why would that meat on sale? That meat always on sale. That's crazy. Why the meat that the craziest always be on sale? That's a junk you snatch up.
Meat,
and don't
the
even
grass-fed meat is like $20
through the roof
for a 16-ounce. But listen, I get that grass-fed meat. I'm sorry, guys.
Thank you.
I get that grass. I pay that $13 for that little block of meat, but it makes a big difference.
It's true. Diet, food, nutrition, all of that has a lot to play in your mind development.
And again, it's like, and people say, is love enough? Like, let me ask you, if your partner had cancer, would you throw your hands up and say, I'm done?
Most people do.
Some people do.
Listen, there's some shiesty ass folk out here, man. Once that life insurance policy is signed, you on your own, Jerome. like
that's horrible, but it's true.
It is, but that's true. People is out here like that.
It's true.
They plotting on people, man.
Yes, and then another disorder, dissociative identity disorder,
that's
also known as multiple personality disorder.
What?
I had a few of those cases in my life. Very interesting. Those who don't know what DID is when a person usually stems from a lot of trauma in their life. One client I had, she was raised in a cult and abused since she was a child.
Oh, my goodness.
And they disassociate from themselves, right? Usually from the trauma. And they take on different personalities, which they call alters. And most people you don't know when you're switching to an alter.
They don't even recall that.
Don't even recall that there's someone else.
So is DID on OPP? Because listen, if I don't remember who I am, do I got multiple girlfriends, booze, and all that else? I know
that
I'm different.
person may, yes, the person that comes out may. But can
hold
you
on.
Okay.
So I'm dealing with somebody with DID, correct?
Okay, yes.
Right? What did you call it?
Dissociative identity disorder.
Okay.
But DID. Mm-hmm.
And they in a relationship with me.
Yep.
Whatever shifts, triggers, whatever moves over the mental illness, they could think they with somebody else and be in a whole nother relationship.
Yes. If they're a different person, absolutely.
So they can never be accused of cheating. Cheat code. No.
They can.
That wasn't me. That was Larry. You ain't see the switch.
Oh my gosh! Here you go.
That wasn't me. That was
That's not a path to cheat. We're not
even into guys.
Listen, it happens, right? If someone's out of their mind, they don't realize what they did, right?
That's crazy.
People who go things and black out and they sleep with someone else and don't realize.
Yo.
Yes. Very serious.
How do you cope and survive that? Like,
how do you cope with someone who has dissociative identity disorder?
You had the DID, so you was on OPP time.
No.
Like, I need to know.
Listen, getting the okay, that person needs intense psychotherapy to be able to bring the alters together and get through the trauma.
And to be one person.
But
it'd be all them voices still floating in one head.
Different personalities, not the voices. They're a completely different person. So
I'm just thinking
they could sit here and I could be talking to you like I'm Alicia, and then I could turn into 5-year-old Michael. Like, hi, I'm Michael. Like, and Alicia's not here.
That's why I gotta be Michael though.
I don't know. What's the first thing that came to my head?
That's crazy,
right?
Yo.
That's a serious disorder.
So all right. Let me just ask for all the bozos in the room. You know, I gotta represent those that think out the box, right? So, like, how can Can somebody with DID be used in role play, so to speak? Because, like, say you want to spice things up, but you know they go into crazy mode every now and then. But you like that crazy mode. Like, that crazy mode is a lot more touchy-feely, sensually pleasing, whatever the case is. And you've been with this person for a while, so you know how to coax them into that personality, right?
What?
Isn't that kind of coping and surviving with mental illness? Because it's like we both got to deal with it. Like, you know, it should probably benefit both of us. Why not? Or it don't work like that.
It could. Like I said,
okay.
It's something that you would have to talk to the original person about.
Okay, you have to get their permission
and talk
for
to
them to
them about
transform
that.
into the
Yeah.
freakazoid. Okay.
Well, not they. You can't tell them when to transform, but maybe the person who's the freakazoid may not be attracted to you because they're not that person.
What if they got a Becky in them, right? Just using Becky out of nowhere, right? And Becky's the personality that has the best sex, and Becky loves peanut butter. So whenever I want to see Becky, I hit you with a Reese's to trigger Becky coming out. Does it work like that or not? We need to know, Doc.
I do not think it works like that.
Okay, all right. I'm just asking.
The main person usually does not know when the altars come out. It's very sporadic. It's sporadic. Right. You don't know. It could be something that triggers it, a smell, a sound.
So it's like the potluck bag. You get whatever you get out of it.
Get whoever's coming out.
Okay. Man.
But that disorder definitely can be healed and worked through. Okay. That's not like schizophrenia where it's a chemical imbalance and this person may have this for the rest of their life.
Because I'm just thinking outside the box. I'm like, your mental illness gotta be mine. Why we put it to good use?
Sorry, we're not trying. I know it's a serious topic, but
role play.
Another thing too, there are a lot of people. I realize the dating pool is very hard, right? More people are being more open about having mental illness, dealing with anxiety, dealing with depression, being on medication.
Lying about it too.
Yeah, but let me ask you this. When should a person tell someone when they're dating that they have a mental illness? Should that be said on the first date? Should it be said on the first phone conversation? Like, hey, I deal with schizophrenia, but I take my meds and I see a therapist. From time to time, I hear a few voices in my head, but I'm okay.
That's crazy. Because most people are going to just be like, yeah, that's a turn off. Or that's going to be. But, some other people could respect the honesty of it and say, well, hey, that's great. Thanks for letting me know about that. Maybe I can deal with that, or maybe that's too much for me. So I think that's a good thing. I think being transparent about it, regardless of what it is. But I think a lot of people will be hesitant about it. Similar to having an STD. Like, you don't want to deter the person. You don't want to scare the person off.
So like hepatitis, because it's something we know that is non-curable.
Yeah.
It just has flare up.
But you ain't going to tell them I'm burning, or, I got the crab, or I got herpes or something, because, you want to steal the deal. I personally think, my own personal thing is, I think we should know or before sex. Because I need to know. Because, if the sex is whack, you can blame it on the mental illness.
Oh, my gosh.
You can say, I don't know what got into me. That's one of my personalities. Richard, I'm trying to get him in here.
Oh, my God.
He knocked the bottoms out of you. Hold on, give me a second.
Oh, my
God. You got any peanut butter in here?
Stop it. Stop. Wait. So, to backtrack, if you do have a mental illness, whether it's anxiety, it's depression, whatever it is, it should be brought up in the very beginning of the relationship.
Okay, very beginning. Before sex, before any kind of engagement, while you're really talking and getting to learn the person, as soon as possible, you should let them know.
Okay. Yes. Agreed.
That's what it is. Okay.
All right. Yes, you should let them know.
No, I agree to that, because you don't want to get nobody under false pretenses, and you don't want to hide who you are in a relationship. Especially if it's something that, like mental illness, that you cannot handle or you cannot control. So, I think that's great to really let somebody know honest, up in front. And you'd be surprised too, if somebody's your soulmate or somebody's meant to be with you, people are very understanding. Certain people are very compassionate in this world, and if they feel as if there's something in you special enough to look past that struggle, your struggle becomes their struggle, as in most things in relationships, finance, attitude, kids. We learn to accommodate to the things that we, don't necessarily like, but we love this person.
Absolutely.
So we're going to put our work into it. We're going to put our attention into it. We're going to put our love into it. And, most people want to believe in somebody,
Absolutely. And one thing I noticed about the dating pool, I know people.
How you know so much about the dating pool, Doc?
Because I have friends that are single. I have clients who know about it.
Right. True that.
So the dating world, I find that a lot of people are having a hard time accepting someone who's confronting their mental illness in adulthood, or still just now dealing with trauma. I think people 35 and up are having a hard time because trauma was suppressed for all those years. 70 days, no one talked about it. So the people 35 and up, they're like, Dag, I do have some anxiety. Dag, I am suffering from depression.
Yeah.
This was things that was not talked about when I was a kid. You know? So do you feel before you start dating, right? Before you start dating or going on these dating sites, should you heal yourself? Should you be healed? Should you work that out?
You know? Well, as we all know in therapy, for those that have previously watched the show, therapy is a lifelong process. So the healing is a lifelong process. So I don't think I can heal myself in order to date you, but I think you should definitely be aware of my journey and aware of some of the obstacles that I'm currently dealing with.
Very good.
So you have the option to decide whether or not you want to be with my not so sane self or not. You know, I don't like, I know I use the word crazy a lot, and crazy can mean anything, you know what I'm saying? And I think part of the stigma with mental illness is because your brain is different or you're going through this, people automatically label you on the umbrella of you're crazy. You're crazy. You're crazy. You're crazy. And you don't want to hear that. You're tired of hearing that.
Yeah.
That's what holds you from being your true self. That's what holds you from confronting what your problem is so that you can be, you know, better or function from it.
Absolutely.
Because everybody's worried about somebody being labeled crazy. But listen, y'all, let me tell you, we all damn crazy. Y'all know my ass is crazy. Thank God my wife deal with all my several mental illnesses. I've got a gambit of them. And yet she still loves my crazy ass. That's what it's all about, man. You know what I'm saying? You gotta love somebody for they crazy, man. How Beyonce say crazy in love? Shit, you gotta love somebody for they crazy nowadays, you know? And a lot of people that's single out there, listen, y'all, I know you want to hit that perfect match. I know you want to get that guy with this and guy with that and girl with this and girl with that, but that shit don't exist, y'all. I'm going to be honest with you. All those superficial things that you thought you wanted in a person, that ain't it.
Nope.
You need trust. Somebody's going to be able to tolerate you, understand you, work with you, learn with you, grow with you, correct you, you know, learn from you.
Absolutely.
All those are the things that you need to be looking for in a relationship. And if the person that you're seeking doesn't have those things, then you got to work on the things that you present.
Absolutely.
That's when it really becomes are you checking your mental illness?
Absolutely.
Are you checking your attitudes? Are you checking your appearances? Are you checking your behaviors? Because a lot of times we always want somebody to accommodate to what works for us, but we don't even be ready to accommodate to anybody, to have somebody, to be somebody's support.
Absolutely.
You know, I always say I'm always working on my better self to be a better half for my whole, for my wife, you know. That's why I work on the shit that I'll be struggling with, because, you know, she deserves a king. She deserves a man that has his emotions and his behaviors in check. You know what I'm saying? And my kids learn from that. That's the healthy relationships that I want to see enforced coming out this family. So yeah, mental illness is a heavy one, man.
Heavy,
you know,
heavy every day.
A lot of empathy for my warriors out there struggling with it.
Yeah. So, you know, just to sum some things up, first thing I want to say is look at the signs early on, you know.
Early
in your
detection.
relationship, early detection. If there's any depression, anxiety, if something seems a little bit off, work on that together with your partner. Everyone is so afraid to go speak to someone or get therapy or get some kind of help.
They just don't want to confront their problem.
Yep.
You know, I don't think they're scared to talk about it. They just I don't want to. I've been dealing with this problem all my life. I don't want nobody telling me how to live. I don't want to change these things about me. That's usually the attitude.
Yeah.
That's no bueno.
Yeah. And again, we're getting out of the stigma of mental illness being taboo. It's not anymore, you know. And let's start with our kids. If you see some behaviors that are foul in your kids, check that right away. Address them. And if they need to speak to a child therapist, send them. It's okay. It's okay.
Listen, even if they're not exhibiting that, if you have an active relationship with your child and communication is there, and there's certain answers that you don't have, maybe it's good to talk to somebody else that doesn't have those answers, or somebody that does have the time and attention to talk to them about their problems when they're ready to talk about it. Kids don't want to talk about stuff when you want them to talk.
Absolutely not.
Only when you put them
Absolutely
in a
not.
comfortable situation, like many adults, when you put us in a comfortable situation that we're able to trust who we're speaking with, we can unpack all that.
Absolutely.
That's why most people require therapy.
Absolutely. And
It's
there's nothing wrong
necessary.
with it. It's a necessary. And also too, the question we pose was, can you, should you, and would you stay with someone who is suffering from mental illness? Right. And I feel like as long as it's not something that's life threatening to you or anyone else or the person, where you just have to get them extensive help, whether it's in an outpatient program, inpatient program,
Yeah.
medication.
Save yourself.
Yeah.
Save your people.
Yes. I know when I made my vows to my husband, I said, till death do us part. Like, I can't see myself just dropping my husband off somewhere and be like, you're going to stay here until there's no more because I can't deal. But that's me. I know there are some people for their own mental health who couldn't deal with someone who was schizophrenic.
Yeah.
Or
That's a
who
lot.
was hearing voices, or who couldn't deal with someone who had severe anxiety. That can be a lot for someone who doesn't understand what anxiety is or how the person's feeling.
Right.
Or even major depression. You may be with someone who's like, why can't you just be happy? Why can't you just get up? I do all of this for you. And they don't understand how that person is feeling.
Yeah, it's a disease.
It's a disease. Like, would you tell someone who has cancer, well, you shouldn't have cancer? No. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If someone is dealing with a substance abuse, would you say, oh, you should just stop having a substance abuse? No. These are all things that a person is dealing with. And if you've committed to the person, I feel you do everything in your power to help that person.
Should be.
And you need to do what you can to help and yourself, because you need your sanity too.
And you gotta realize too, karma too. Like, we ain't telling you, if it ain't in your heart to ride it out with somebody that's going through a battle that you can't handle. I mean, that's, like I said, no judgment zone. You got to do what's best for your life,
Yeah.
but you do understand karma. You understand there's gonna come a moment where you're gonna need somebody's help, and that help may not be there because of the decisions you made.
Yeah.
So just try to do the best you can to really love people from your heart instead of what they can do for you, what they can buy for you.
Yeah.
How they make you feel sexually, how they make you feel financially, how they make, what I'm saying? It's about really connecting with people as a human being, because that's what, at the end of the day, that's what's really going to bind you together. That's what's really going to get that person to care about you in your weakest moment. So, we're not going to belabor the moment too much. It was a heavy time. I tried to put a little comedy, a little funny on it, y'all. But you understand, mental illness is not a joking matter.
Nope.
We are very serious about those that need to seek help and guidance. And we also go another step, and we show a lot of empathy for those that are in relationship with those that are suffering from these mental illnesses. We understand that it's a couple problem. It's not just a personal problem in most of these relationships. So, salute to y'all for thugging it out and really loving who you love.
Yes, and the disorders that are ones that definitely can be worked on, substance abuse disorders, personality disorders, anxiety and depression. Those are disorders that really can be worked on if you put the work in.
Support yours.
Everybody go to psychotherapy, family therapy, individual therapy, couples therapy. If you got to go to AA, NA meetings, inpatient, outpatient,
services
groups,
everywhere,
retreats, you time. Those disorders, those are not lifelong disorders. You have to be willing to put the work in. Again, it's not like psychotic disorder. It's not like severe schizoaffective disorder. All of these things, that's a severe chemical imbalance where it's just a person in their own head where they need medication for. So put the work in and try. And again, like we said, you got to do what's best for you as well, and for your health, the health and safety of your household.
Yes.
But get the help. There's a lot of services and things out there you can get. Again, we reach out if you need the support or if you need any kind of referrals. Again, you can reach us at the Doctor and the Realist. You can reach me at Dr. Alicia Delgado Gavin at all platforms. Please, please, please don't sit with this. Like I said, mental health is growing every day. I don't watch the news, but if you could just see and hear what is going on today with our children and our families, people on the day. This is serious.
That's where the anxiety comes from, y'all.
And listen, I'm sure all them people had signs and symptoms way before they committed whatever acts they committed.
Yeah.
This didn't just happen out the blue. There were things that people did not just kept pushing under the rug, whether it was family, significant other, kids. Check on those things right there.
Yeah. So, do your best to love yours, y'all. You
yes.
know, mentally ill or not, man.
Yes.
Just do your best to be the best you can possibly be, man. Trust me, it all pays forward.
Absolutely.
We always go through what we go through for the next generation. So let's heal up our relationships and let's be the better persons for the ones that are coming behind us, okay?
Yep. And one thing I want to leave everyone in, instead of just focusing on mental illness, let's focus on our mental wellness.
Yes.
We're too focused on being ill. We're too focused on being sick. You know, something's wrong. Let's focus on our mental wellness and being well, being happy, being a better person for you, doing things that make you happy, that bring you peace.
Yes, very important, y'all. That's wealth. It's wealth and health.
Let's talk about mental wellness. Get your mental wellness in order. If you can get your mental wellness in order, you will avoid mental illness.
You start seeing the pieces in your life start falling in line and back again.
Absolutely.
So each one teach one. We hope y'all enjoy this topic.
Yes.
Anybody else struggling with mental illness, like I said, we salute y'all and we wish y'all all the best. You know, you the true MVPs, man.
Absolutely. We love y'all as always. Please continue to follow us, share. Join and like and subscribe to our YouTube page, Dr. The Realist. We love.
We got a couple cool videos on there. If y'all want to check out our wedding, y'all be like, y'all talk so much shit. You wedding counselors, what are they called? Relationship counselors, whatever it is. Yeah, man. Check out that wedding, man. Listen, from our point of view, that wedding was one of the most stressful, painstaking things we ever did. But you couldn't tell from the video.
No, because the video made it, and I have some of my best friends tell me all the time, it was so beautiful. It was so beautiful.
Shout out to everybody that made it out the Puta Cara hard rock. We was tearing it up out there.
Yes. So listen, we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Again, tonight, I'm just going to leave you with mental wellness is key. Mental wellness is key.
Yes.
Keep loving, supporting, love yourself, give yourself, shower yourself every day.
Wealth, mental health, and good sex.
Good sex. Kiss, love you. Good night, guys. We love you. Have a good night.
Peace. Here we go.